celebrate this great occasion. I'm Joan McDonald. I am the chair of the Board of Commissioners for the New York State Bridge Authority. On behalf of Governor Hochul, as well as the board and the dedicated staff of the Bridge Authority, I welcome everyone here today to the Bear Mountain Bridge in our time capsule dedication. Given this bridge's ceremonial name as the Purple Heart Veterans Memorial Bridge, I would like to especially extend a warm welcome and thank you to everyone here today who has served in our nation's military. I would like to thank the Military Order of the Purple Heart, who stood with the Bridge Authority in 2018 to celebrate the ceremonial naming of the bridge, and were able to provide an item in the time capsule today. When this bridge was dedicated in 1924, musicians from West Point participated in the opening ceremony. Today, we are fortunate to have Sergeant Major Mary Kay Messenger, vocalist for the West Point Band, here with us. Mary Kay, come up, and everyone please join us for the national anthem.
Yes, please join in the singing. Oh, say, and you sing. There's the light, what's so from bright and bright stars. Oh, so great. Still there, oh, say, for the land.
For the token of our appreciation, we have we'd like to thank you for your contribution on behalf of the New York State. Thank you so much. I want to take a moment to recognize some of our distinguished guests from Governor Kathy Hochul's office, Navarro Lopez, Deputy Secretary of Transportation, Julissa Gutierrez, Chief Diversity Officer for the state of New York. We also have from our state agencies, Joshua Laird, representing the Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation, Commissioner Jeanette White from the Office of OGS, and Lance McMillan, representing Commissioner Marie Therese Dominguez. On behalf of our federal delegation, we have here today Donna Cibarino, representing U.S. Congressman Mike Lawler, our county electeds, Ed Day from Rockville County, Westchester County Executive George Latimer, our other two county executives, which this bridge touches, Orange County Executive Steve Newhouse and Putnam County Executive Kevin Byrne, are on their way. Our local elected officials, Chief City of Peekskill Deputy Mayor Patricia Riley, here on behalf of Mayor Vivian McKenzie. Thank you to everybody for being here. Today we gather at the crossroads of four counties, Orange, Rockland, Westchester, and Putnam, to commemorate 100 years since construction started in 1923 on one of the Hudson Valley's most iconic structures. The Bear Mountain Bridge was a groundbreaking achievement in its time. Funded through private funds and supported by the Harriman family, the bridge was built in less than 2 years without a single loss of life, which I think is an extremely important point as we commemorate National Transportation Safety Act, and we honor all of those individuals who have been lost in traffic and transportation accidents and continue to do our due diligence to keep our workers safe. Upon Upon completion, it was not only the first vehicular crossing over the Hudson River south of Albany, but it was also the bridge with the longest suspended span in the world. After being dedicated on November 26, 1924, it opened to the general public the next day, which also happened to be Thanksgiving and the first Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. So lots of good history associated with this bridge. While other spans along the Hudson and around the world may be longer, we can thank the Bear Mountain for paving the way for other bridges that followed. The advances in construction and technology that were realized here helped to usher in a bridge building boom in the Hudson Valley and the rest of the country. In September 1940, under the chairmanship of Addison Jones, the New York State Bridge Authority took ownership of the bridge. Since then, the board and the staff of the New York State Bridge Authority have been committed to ensuring a safe and reliable Hudson River crossing. I would like to thank all of the New York State Bridge Authority staff, and I would like them all to stand, current and formal, to be recognized by everybody here today. Thank you all for what you do. To kick off this event, I am honored to submit a letter from our board to the New Yorkers of 2023 and then the New Yorkers of 3023. I ask that my fellow board members, Alex Berardi and Lanny Gilbert, please come up and stand with me as we place this first item into the time capsule, as well as a few of the other items you see displayed. Okay. Thank you. Yep. It is now my honor to invite our guest speakers up for today who will say a few words, and if they have an item to place into the time capsule, we welcome them to do so. I'll start. We're doing it in alphabetical order. Ed Day from Rockland County, and then we'll go to Westchester County and some of our commissioners.
Thank you very much, Joan. And also I want to acknowledge Vanessa. Good seeing you again, our executive director. I heard earlier a couple of points I think are very important when it comes to this bridge. This is hands down probably the most beautiful bridge you could ever traverse. The views are just stunning. We have a lot of great bridges on the Hudson that overlook the Hudson River, but this one is just beyond belief. And it bears the name of great honor. That just makes it even more special. So, I mean, I'm delighted to be here today for the time capsule dedication as we gear up to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the construction of the Bear Mountain Bridge that connects the Hudson Valley region. And to Joe's point, the fact there was no deaths in the construction is mind-boggling from 100 years ago, because that was unfortunately a rule of thumb with most of the construction going on back then. We already have an item in the time capsule. It's the Rockland County Travel Guide. We figured it would be nice to see what folks 100 years from now can say when they see how our county has evolved from where we are now. So today, I just really want to offer, on behalf of all Rocklanders, Rockland County is so very proud to be a part of this special historical moment in time, and I thank you very much for having me. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, County Executive Day. And just to make sure everybody understands, we put the items already in from the various counties. I'd now like to call up my boss and friend, County Executive, Westchester County, George Latimer.
Thank you, Joe. We are colleagues. I'm not her boss. I take orders from her. And Joe, that's how it works. I'm happy to be with my friend Ed Day. We were here together just a couple of days ago, along with Kevin Byrne and Steve Newhouse. to look about what we think is going to happen in the future in a very different way, what's going to happen in the river. So here we are today, planning on something that in 100 years, 21, 23, someone's going to take out and take a look at. I was tempted to put a $10 bill in to see what it's worth in 100 years. But who knows where the economy will be. And I must say, as I drove over the bridge, I was thinking to myself, this bridge looks better at 100 than I look at 69. So I'm sure it's going to make it through the next 100 years. I know I'm not going to. I had thought as well what an engineering marvel this is. As I was in bumper-to-bumper traffic on Fairmount Parkway on my way up here, it was a lot of time to look. But it made me really imagine what it took for the people to envision crossing the Hudson in this location. Given what you had to do to go into the side of the mountain from the Westchester side to create an access, which even to this day, I'm not sure, as an experienced driver, 45 years driving, I really want to take that road more than once or twice. My friend, Councilman Rowley from Peekskill, tells me, keep a steady hand, you can handle it day after day. I also thought about what would have been put in a capsule 100 years ago and what that would have meant. We know now, because we've lived those 100 years, you would have put in perhaps the most popular song of the day when 1923 capsule was dropped in. Yes, we have no bananas. That was the most popular song 100 years ago. And I will tell you, I can't tell you what today's most popular song is. I'll have to call my granddaughter and she'll tell me, and the rap artist that has it. If you put a picture of the President of the United States in 100 years ago, that was Warren G. Harding. And if you decided that you wanted to recognize the World Series, now the World Series was in the 1922 World Series, the New York Giants defeated the New York Yankees that year. That was the John McGraw of the New York Giants. Then you think about what's happened over the period of time. And what we're doing here today is to put something of value that we think of this day and age, which will be evaluated by people 100 years from now. Well, if you open up the capsule from 100 years ago, yes, we have no bananas is at best a novelty song. Warren Harding, in point of fact, only had about 4 more months to live, died in the summer of 1923, and he's not well thought of as amongst the presidents of the United States. The New York Giants were at the top of the baseball world within so many years would be in San Francisco, not in New York, across Coogan's Bluff from Yankee Stadium. So things change, and that's what makes this bridge such an accomplishment. We've seen, Ed and I, in our lifetime, the building and the deconstruction of the Tappan Zee Bridge. I remember getting on the new bridge and driving and looking at the old Tappan Zee Bridge before it was put out to become part of the reef structure. And I thought to myself, having been on that bridge many, many times, from the new bridge, looking at it, I thought it looked like a timber toy in comparison to it. It looked like something that we would do to the erector set back when we were, kids. And that bridge, which was an essential bridge in its day and age, lasted 50, 60 years. This bridge is still here. That's an impressive statement. So we hope that the lessons we learn is to focus on things that matter over the long run. And that's, I think, what we're doing on Monday. And I also think what we're celebrating here, that there are things that have long duration in society that should be praised, that should be protected as assets, not just for today, but for generations that haven't lived yet. And I'm very happy that I'm alive at this moment to be able to be here for this celebration, Joan, and for us to leave something for the people 100 years from now, so that they know we were here and we appreciated that bridge as much as they will. Thank you.
Currently, Steve Newhouse, County Executive of Orange County, and Kevin Byrne from Putnam County are not here, but when they arrive, we will, of course, give them the opportunity to make a few remarks. I next want to call up some of our colleagues from the state. First, we'll have Josh Laird, who is the Regional Director of New York State Office of Parks, here on behalf of Commissioner Eric Hulside. And just as we all know in government, there's at least 2 degrees of separation. Josh and I worked together in the city of New York in the Bloomberg administration, so I was thrilled when I saw that he was here taking care of this wonderful park. So Josh, welcome, and it's great to see you.
Thank you, Joan. And thank you for having me here today. I am indeed the regional director for New York State Parks, and here representing Commissioner cool to say today, who sends his regards and regrets that he could not be here. But I think for the moment, really, my day job is I am executive director of the Palisades Interstate Park Commission, which actually owns and manages the parks of the Palisades region in cooperation with New York State Parks. On behalf of the Palisades Commission and State Parks, I'd like to thank the Bridge Authority for its nearly 75 years of stewardship of the Bear Mountain Bridge. Your meticulous care for this structure has ensured its longevity in the face of very heavy use and gives us faith that 100 years from now, it will still stand Centennial at this place as others open the time capsule we're leaving today. So, standing here, or more standing up top, staring here at this lovely setting with the bridge in juxtaposition to this tremendous surrounding landscape along the Hudson River, it's easy to forget what a feat of engineering this bridge was for its time, and that it was, in fact, the longest suspension bridge in the world, single span on the day it opened. It also stands as a monument to the emerging conservation movement that led to the creation of Bear Mountain and Harriman State Parks. For those of you who don't know the history, in 1908, the state of New York proposed relocating Sing Sing Prison from Ossining to the foot of Bear Mountain. The state acquired the land and a stockade was constructed. But inspired by the efforts of the Palisades Interstate Park Commission, which was founded in 1900 to save the cliffs of the lower Palisades along the Hudson from destruction by quarry operators, an organization called the Highlands of the Hudson Forest Preserve was formed and stopped the prison from being built. Mary Harriman, then the recent widow of Union Pacific Railroad magnate E.H. Harriman, stepped up and offered $1 million and 10,000 acres of her family estate on top of the land the state had already acquired for the prison to create a park that would be run by the Palisades Commission. So I think there's a real nexus here. How many people think that a bridge of this beauty and magnitude would have been constructed like this as the gateway to a prison? I think there's really the park is a part of the history here. And the creation of Bear Mountain and Harriman State Parks was a watershed moment for land conservation in the ever densifying Northeast at that time. But the fact that the Bear Mountain Bridge was built 45 miles north of New York City in a rural area that did not have a great deal of vehicle traffic at that time was astounding. In fact, the area was already served by passenger rail and steamboat service, exceeded vehicular traffic on the bridge for many years after the bridge opened. But by the time the bridge did open in 24, Bear Mountain and Harriman State Parks were already receiving 7 million visitors annually. And this bridge served as a new way to access these incredibly popular parks as a symbol of connection to the Hudson River, to this beautiful valley, and to New York City and the metropolitan area beyond. 100 years ago, people from New York's growing metropolis were already seeking the health and emotional benefits of time outdoors for peaceful contemplation, play, and learn, spend time with their families. And Bear Mountain Bridge was a part of making that experience a reality. Then as now, Bear Mountain and Harriman State Parks were destinations for people of all backgrounds, means, and abilities. And this bridge made and still makes it easier for them to reach our woods and sit under some of the very trees that still grow on Bear Mountain and in the valleys on the hilltops of Harriman. So thank you again for having me here today, and we look forward to continue work with you and be back with our grandchildren 100 years from now.
Thank you, Ralph. I'd now like to ask Commissioner Jeanette Moy from New York State Office of Department of General Services to come up and say a few words. Commissioner?
We actually did work together. Hello, everyone. My name is Jeanette Moy, and I'm Commissioner for New York State Office of General Services. It is a beautiful day, and we're so happy to be here with our partners, the New York State Bridge Authority, to kick off this incredible celebration for this amazing span, this that opened the way for the construction of suspension bridges across New York State and the Hudson River. I want to thank Bridge Authority Executive Director Minoska Alcantara, and who has been a really wonderful friend and partner in state government. You make and have made this job such a pleasure to work with you. So thank you so much. The Bridge Authority team, thank you for inviting us to be a part of this event and all the work that you do in order to support the needs of New York State motorists, tourists, and the businesses that fuel our state's economy. So thank you for all of this. Now, from the construction of the Empire State Plaza in Albany to the introduction of EV charging stations at state facilities, the Office of General Services has been a part of and continues to be a part of history-making efforts across the state. And that's why we really jumped at the opportunity to participate in today's event. To make a contribution to this time capsule, and it's being dedicated and marking the 100 years of construction for the Bridge Mountain, and which was commenced in 1923. Now, I'd like to take a moment to tell you about our contribution to this time capsule. To honor the life and accomplishments of U.S. Supreme Court Associate Justice and Brooklyn native Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the Office of General Services is installing a permanent carving in her likeness at the New York State Capitol. And this is incredibly momentous, because this is the first new carving that has happened in our state capitol in the Great Western Staircase since they were completed in 1898. It is only the 7th carving of a woman, and it's happening this year. It will pay tribute not only It is incredible because it will not only pay tribute to Justice Ginsburg and her life and her status as a Brooklynite, a New Yorker, but it also recognizes New York's place as the birthright and the birthplace of the women's rights movement in our nation. So it's incredibly fitting that we're doing it this year. It is always and it is a reflection of how New York women have always been at the forefront of change, helping to build up this state, and we're honored to recognize her. Here in the audience, we have Bevan Collins, who is the Capitol architect. She oversaw this project and is also the first woman to serve in this role. So also incredible to have her here and to be a part of both what happened in our state's capital and our competition today. So we're here to join you on these two occasions. There's a little representative of what's in there. It's a piece of the sandstone from the carving, as well as a newspaper article. And we're here to join with the authority to celebrate your role as stewards of an iconic state landmark, the Bear Mountain Bridge, which I grew up riding past as I went off to go hiking or head upstate. We wanted to include something in our capital that represented our agency's role as stewards of another landmark, the New York State Capitol. So our contributions is a piece of the sandstone, which is what we have carved in the justice's likeness. It is a newspaper article in the New York Times, in which Governor Hochul announced the installation of that piece. And we look forward to 100 years from now, what other New Yorkers will think and see as they open up these pieces and reflect on this exact moment in history. So thank you for letting us be a part of it. And congratulations again on reaching this incredible milestone. Thank you.
Start there. Is there anyone in?
Okay, we're running extra. Just in case, you know.
Thank you, Commissioner Moy. At this point, I'd like to bring, I still don't see our other two county executives arrive again. We will give them an opportunity to speak. I'd like to ask Frank Gadare from the town of Portland historian to say a few words. Really important to keep this historical nature in coverage.
I'll be real brief. To talk about the bridge, there was a lot of people from the peaceful Portland area that were part of building of the bridge. Right now, I work for the town of Portland on the weekends. I'll be from there from June all the way to the end of October. So I do a complete history kiosk. So for on the other side of the bridge, the biggest transformation there was a piece of in Westchester County came as a result of this bridge. It's got amazing history. If anybody's ever interested, in stop by. You're more than welcome from the platform. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Frank. I'm now going to welcome Kathy Burke, our Executive Director of the Historic Bridges of the Hudson Valley, who we thank for helping us put this event together She'll say a few words and present a few items for the time capsule. Kathy?
Capsules are most often meant to be a collection of goods and information intended as a deliberate method of communication with future people. In this case, 100 years from now, to convey a story of life now, of the history of, in our case, the Bear Mountain Bridge, that will help future generations understand and appreciate the importance of the Bear Mountain Bridge to our generations and hopefully to theirs. We are celebrating this event now to mark the signing of the contract between the Bear Mountain Hudson River Bridge Company and the Terry and Tench Steel Construction Corporation to construct the Bear Mountain Bridge. Construction would take only 20 months and 4 days attempted. One was a leap year day, but from the signing of the contract on March 24th, 1923, and the ceremony opening the bridge the day before Thanksgiving on November 26th, 1924, the public gained access to the bridge on Thanksgiving Day the next day. Historic Bridges of the Hudson Valley has helped collect a number of items we believe will help create the best and the most complete story for those who open this time capsule. The Harriman family, most specifically Roland Harriman, spearheaded the formation of the Bear Mountain Hudson River Bridge Company, who funded and oversaw the construction, the opening, the operation of the Bear Mountain Bridge for its first 16 years. The Harriman family has provided an official certificate of appreciation signed by President Gerald Ford, thanking Roland Harriman for as many years as president of the American Red Cross. It's already in there. It's big, we had a screen. The Bear Mountain Bridge was constructed using Roebling cables. Roebling and Sons did a study of the stringing of parallel wire cables on the Bear Mountain Bridge. The Roebling Museum has provided an original copy of this study for the time capsule. Lynn, if you could come up. Lynn Kwame is the director of the Roebling Museum, and she's here today and will place the study in the time capsule. The story of the Bear Mountain Bridge is really the story of the Bridge Authority. Without the Bridge Authority's superior planning, operation, and maintenance, the Bear Mountain Bridge would very likely not be in great shape. It is to begin its next 100 years. The HBHB board is an assembled group of people with vast amounts of Bridge Authority institutional knowledge. I'd like to acknowledge some of those members who are here today. Bill Moreau was the first chief engineer of the Bridge Authority. He's in many ways responsible for the current policies and procedures that keep all Bridge Authority bridges in such good condition. And Bill is going to come up. We also have Bill was also with Harry Stanton, another HBHB board member, who was an executive director and the only executive director so far to become an actual board commissioner. They began what is now the International Cable Supported Bridge Operators Association right here in the Hudson Valley. By inviting bridge operators from around the world to visit the Hudson Valley and our suspension bridges to discuss ways to solve problems and extend the lives of these structures. And there is a cable supported bridge conference, the ICEBOC 2024 is going to be right here back at Bear Mountain. And we have put into the time capsule the program from the Bridge Authority's 2000 conference that was held here at the Bear Mountain Bridge. Bob Russo, longtime director of administration. So this is really good. And she was deputy executive director when she created Historic Bridges. So we're thankful to her for that. And she was also the executive director of the Hudson Centennial. So we have a quadricentennial point in the time capsule as well. In addition, I'd like to recognize Dawn Jasek. She's here. Dawn's husband, Richie, is who our museum is named for. And Richie was one of our original board members for Historic Bridges. And the reason Historic Bridges exists is because Richie had a museum of things that he collected inside here in the administration building. HBHB has also compiled photos of the construction, the opening of the bridge, and its transfer to the Bridge Authority in 1940. We have a copy of the program, as I said, for the ICEBOC 2000, as well as other items that illustrate the care and recognition this structure has received. Pretty cool. I wish you guys could have seen everything, and we do have it digitally represented, but there's actually the telegram from Robert Moses, yes, the Robert Moses, to Addison Jones, the director then of the Bridge Authority, for how much he was going to have to pay for the Bear Mountain Bridge when it transferred in 1940. Last but not least, I'd like to ask Jamie Rossi, STEAM teacher from Hillcrest School in Peekskill, to come forward. Fourth-grade student Hillcrest studying New York State and local history, received a history lesson from Frank. And the students wrote letters for our time capsule. They did a great job describing life now and what they think it might be like in 100 years. Many wrote about the history and the experiences they've had with the Bear Mountain Bridge. Some of them are, we're going to make those available too. Some of them were pretty funny. One child specifically wants to know if the Bills ever win the Super Bowl. Bills fan down here, good. But Jamie did a great job. We have 92 letters. So that's great. So thank you, Jamie. Yeah, there's some other clips here. I don't know if you guys. And this is our special pamphlet that was created. Again, Tara was pretty instrumental in this. Take a bridge. You guys have seen these. We're going to bring up new copies now with all the new board members, but these are, it tells about the Bridge Authority on one side and historic bridges on the other. And then some of these books laying around, so we're sticking with it.
Thank you, Kathy, for all those remarks and the wonderful items to place in our time capsule. Now, last but certainly not least, I want to welcome our wonderful executive director, Dr. Manoshka Alcantara, up to say some closing remarks. She's been a great partner, and we are very lucky to have her. Manoshka?
Good morning to everyone. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate your time. To all friends, new friends, thank you so much. Thank you also, Madam Chair, and our board members, for all you do for us, for your time, your talents, sharing your talents with us. We appreciate it. And the people of the Hudson Valley, all New Yorkers appreciate all you do for us. I'd like also to offer a special thanks to Governor Kathy Hochul and Lieutenant Governor Antonio Delgado, who could not be here with us today, who were gracious enough to provide a letter to the future New Yorkers. You can come afterwards and read them over here. Also, thank you to the governor's staff, some of whom are attending here. Libardo Lopez, our Deputy Secretary for Transportation and his transportation team, as well as Julissa Gutierrez, our Chief Diversity Office for the state of New York. Thank you for your partnership and support. To my fellow state leaders, Commissioner Moy, thank you for your continuous friendship, guidance, support. The fact that you're here is a true testament to the great collaboration that the governor's team has. And now, as a civil engineer, I can help but be in awe of this great structure built 100 years ago and continuing to serve New Yorkers today. We have spoken at great length today about the engineering marvel that the Bear Mountain Bridge was for its time and how it led the way for other bridges to come later. When I came to the Bridge Authority, I quickly learned two things. First, that the bridge stands because of in its exceptional condition, because of those engineering investments, technological investments that allow it to be in the shape that it is today. But more importantly, or equally importantly, for all the people that have served this great asset for the state of New York, our people, as we call it, our NISBA family, who at all hours embody a spirit of service. Building and maintaining the Bear Mountain Bridge has never been an easy task or an easy journey. Certainly never a journey of shortcuts or the path for the faint-hearted. Rather, it has been the journey of dreamers, innovators, risk-takers, doers, makers, and men and women obscure in their labor who with their efforts have carried us toward excellence and extraordinary achievement in front of you. These men and women repeatedly sacrificed and worked until their hands were raw so that this magnificent bridge could stand for generations. I think of all our wonderful staff, our headquarters staff that is present here today, our wonderful directors, our former executive directors, past chief engineers, and our wonderful deputy executive director, Lauren Melendez, and Olive Cadet, who our director of special projects that have helped us organize these events. Also, our security personnel, many of whom were our trusted toll collectors before we went to AT, who protect this bridge and are there for our patrons 7 days a week. Importantly, I think of our maintenance crew who currently ensure this bridge gets the daily TLC that it needs. Our foreman, Dumont, and his maintenance staff who are here today, who will quickly tell you that working on the Bear Mountain Bridge isn't just a job, but a labor of love. I'm also grateful for our friends at the Historic Bridges of the Hudson Valley, led by Kathy Berg and his board of directors, all of them, thank you so much, who work alongside us every single day to preserve the history of our bridges. NISBA, its employees, its Bear Mountain personnel, our board reflects the ideals, the dreams, and the values of America. Honesty, hard work, courage, fair play, tolerance, curiosity, and loyalty, the forces of progress in our American history. Now, there is one of our employees that has continued to simplify these ideals for over half a century, and I would like to especially recognize today one of the first people I met when I joined the authority. And actually, we talk every day because he comes to my office every day. So John Brooks first came to the Bridge Authority in 1966. And he has had almost every job that you can imagine. He started as a toll collector. He continued his trajectory. He retired as a bridge manager. And he loves to tell the story of how his first night at the Bridge Authority, he processed over 2,000 tolls in one day. It's one of the many stories he loves to tell at all of us at least, but after retiring from full-time employment, Brooksy has stayed with us as a part-timer and with over 56, almost 57 years of service, he's our longest serving employee. As we like to joke around, the NISBA acronym that we all come to know is not really New York State Bridge Authority, but New York State Bridge Authority. Anyone who knows John and has worked with him knows how much he's writing everybody's morning that he's with us at the office. We are grateful to have him with us, and it is my honor to invite him forward to seal and include the last items in our book.
Mr. John Brooks, this one says, this advises you as your permanent appointment to the position of toll collector at a Mid-Hudson Bridge effective September 1st, 1966, signed by Ella J. Boone. And I'm still here. But I just, when I first started, my dad was my boss, and that's bad. 10 years my dad was my boss. But when I started, I said, geez, you know, it's like family, and really, right now, it's still family, and that's why I'm around. I mean, I can't mention everybody out there, all my friends, they're all family, and I'm just honored to be here to see all that. But Mr. Jeff Wright, he didn't make it big enough, because he was gonna put me in. Said, no, Jeff, you ain't gonna do that. But I just want to say I thank, and I gotta thank for my mom and dad having me to come on this earth. But the biggest thing I have to say is my wife Betty putting up me 63 years. And my daughter, so my son just retired from the Carpenters Union, so I said, good luck, but keep working because that's what keeps you active. I'll be 87 in 2 months, so gotta keep going, guys.
That's right. We love you, Brooksy.
Okay.
No, you can't.
In front of
Put it here, okay? Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much. This concludes our program. However, I'd like to invite Major Mary Kay to Sergeant Major Mary Kay Messenger to give us a tune to sign off. Thank you. And put the lid on.
Small room. While that's being moved, I believe we're going to sing a song that all of us near and dear to our hearts. So feel free to sing. Start spreading the news. I'm leaving today. I want to be a part of it. New York, New York. These vagabond shoes are longing to stray and step around the heart of it. New York, New York. I wanna wake up in a city that never sleeps to find out keep my little town are melting away. I'll make a brand new start of it in old New York. If I can make it there, I'll make it anywhere. It's up to you, New York, New York, New York, New York. I wanna wake up in a city that never sleeps to find your number one. Free from the cross, the every star in your New York. How long come through New York? New York.
Thank you, everyone. That concludes our